Imagine waking up tomorrow and discovering you only have one day left to speak to someone you love. One day to say what you've been postponing for years. One day to fix what pride kept broken. One day to tell the truth. Now here's the real question. Why are we waiting for a deadline that may never come? This is the story of a man who stopped waiting. And what he did changed an entire town. Stay with me, because by the end of this story, you may look at your own life very differently. In a quiet little town where nothing seemed to change, there lived an old clockmaker named Elias. Elias repaired watches, wall clocks, grandfather clocks, anything that ticked. People trusted him with their most precious heirlooms because Elias understood something most people didn't. Time is fragile, and once it breaks, you can't wind it back. But here's what nobody knew. Elias himself was running out of time. At 78 years old, with hands that trembled slightly and eyesight that faded at dusk, he had received news from his doctor. His heart was failing. He didn't know if he had months. He didn't know if he had weeks. All he knew was this: the clocks around him kept ticking, and suddenly, every tick sounded louder. That night, Elias didn't sleep. Instead, he sat in his workshop surrounded by hundreds of ticking clocks, and he asked himself one question: what have I not done? And that's when he thought of her, Clara, his daughter. They hadn't spoken in 15 years. 15. A misunderstanding, a stubborn argument, two strong wills that refused to bend, and pride had built a wall higher than love. He had told himself she would call first. She had told herself he should apologize, and the silence grew. But now, sitting in a room full of ticking reminders, Elias realized something painful. Time doesn't care who was right. It only moves forward. The next morning, instead of opening his shop, Elias did something unexpected. He took down a large wooden sign from the back wall of his workshop. He dusted it off, and he hung it in the window. It read, "Free repairs today." No explanation, just those 3 words. People were confused. The town had known Elias as meticulous, fair, but never extravagant. Free was not his style. By noon, the shop was full. An elderly woman brought her late husband's pocket watch. A young boy carried a broken alarm clock. A couple walked in with a wedding clock that had stopped on their anniversary. Elias worked non-stop, carefully, tenderly, as if every clock was a story, because it was. And as he repaired each one, he asked every person a simple question. If this clock could speak, what would it tell you? At first, people laughed. Then they paused. The elderly woman said, "It would tell me I loved him well." The young boy said, "It would tell me not to be late for school again." The couple held hands and said, "It would remind us that time together is the real gift." Something was happening. The shop wasn't just fixing clocks, it was fixing memories. By evening, word had spread across town. People weren't coming just for repairs anymore. They were coming to talk, to reflect, to remember. And then just before closing time, the door opened again. Elias looked up, and his breath caught. Clara stood there. She looked older, of course. Life had shaped her face in ways he hadn't seen, but she still had the same eyes. Eyes that once looked up at him in the workshop, asking how gears worked. For a moment, neither of them spoke. The ticking of the clocks filled the silence. Finally, Clara stepped forward. "I heard you're fixing things for free," she said softly. Elias swallowed. "Yes." She placed something on the counter. It was a small silver wristwatch, the one he had given her when she graduated college.